Hey everyone, how's it all going? It's Ian here from the northwest of Auckland with a little something from the New Human Revolution, Volume 6, Acceleration chapter that has inspired me over many years and served as a reminder that in our practice at least, we need never give in to circumstances, no matter how harsh or unavoidable they may seem. And we certainly need never resign ourselves to some unhappy destiny. For as long as we endure in our practice, our lives can and always will find the strength to take on even seemingly insurmountable problems, and from the very fabric of our being, we'll find the necessary courage and wisdom to not simply overcome the barriers, but to create supreme value out of them. And as the Daishonin notes, to attain Buddhahood just as we are, while opening a great path of happiness for all people. So settle back as I set the scene by initially reading parts of the New Human Revolution, Volume 6, pages 128, 129, 142, and 145. In a section of Fukuoka City, on a tract of reclaimed land jutting into Japan's Hakata Bay, there was a shanty town that locals called Dokan. Dokan, by the way, is the Japanese word for large earthen pipes, and these were scattered in the Hakata Bay area, and people lived in them, people who had no accommodation and were suffering from the most severe privations following World War II. From page 128. The layout of Dokan was extremely convoluted. Shacks were thrown together without the slightest regard for order. Crowded closely together, they were laced by a maze of narrow lanes beneath overlapping roofs that prevented sunlight from shining through. People there did indeed dwell in Japan's society's shadows, where even the light of government authority did not reach. The Dokan area was not very safe. Thefts and brawls were everyday occurrences, and blood was often shed. However, believing that everyone has a right to become happy, one woman, Mrs. Tatsu Matsumoto, a Gakkai member, began visiting people with whom she had even the slimmest of connections to encourage them to start their own practices, but she was initially met with suspicion and mistrust by the residents. In time, however, her efforts bore fruit, and as more and more people came to practice this Buddhism, their experiences of pulling themselves out of this living hell and showing remarkable actual proof became a source of hope for all of those who had all but given up hope. So from page 142, countless people throughout Dokan experienced amazing benefits, awakening to the truth that the key to happiness lies inside each individual. People challenged themselves, determined neither to wallow in self-pity over their plight, nor drown in despair. Putting the dark days of anguish behind them, they picked themselves up and walked unaided toward the sunlight of new hope for life, for the future. And from page 145, many years later, the Japanese author and critic Minpei Sugiura, a social activist who had long watched with interest the growth of the Soka Gakkai movement, wrote, quote, "The Gakkai's greatest achievement lies in unleashing the power of the people, of those at the very lowest strata of society, and in revitalizing their lives," unquote. In fact, it was estimated that by 1962, more than 400 people, or nearly half of the residents of Dokan, were practicing our Buddhism, and this place that had once been enveloped by unspeakable suffering became known for its happy laughter and these remarkable experiences of faith. The story of Dokan has inspired me over the years to believe that, well, no one needs place unnecessary limitations on themselves, and that we can be sure that we can achieve whatever we set our mind of faith to. If you haven't already done so, I'll hope you'll take the time to read this uplifting story for yourself, and staying the course in your daimoku, in your studies and efforts to encourage others, live with the determination that you're about to make something wonderful happen. Thank you, and very best wishes.